What's going on, everybody? My name is Michael Weir, and today we are talking about the brand new horror movie, Smile. Let's just do the review.
I'm just really scared that something bad is going to happen. Rose.
And so, guys, Smile is a brand new horror movie that came out this weekend, and honestly is a perfect way to kick off the month of October. Next weekend, we get Hellraiser. The weekend after that, it's Halloween Ends. So there's some big names coming to the horror genre this month. But Smile was a brand new idea that used a lot of other little ideas. I'll get to that a little bit later. But let me go ahead and give you the synopsis of the story. So you've got a psychiatrist who, on a daily basis, is running herself ragged. She's got some past trauma she's trying to deal with, and so she's trying to help other people, and she doesn't care how many hours she has to work to do that. Well, one day this girl comes into her office and says, "Doc, I need your help. I'm seeing something. It's smiling back at me. It's terrifying, and I'm seeing it everywhere. It's in people on the street that I don't know, and I'm seeing people that have passed away in my life that shouldn't be here, and they're smiling at me." And then she just sort of morphs into this smiling version of herself and slices her own throat, and it's a very terrifying scene. And I'll be honest with you, that moment when the body hits the floor and it's still staring at her, still smiling, that hooked me for the rest of this movie. Of course, from there, you have the doctor is now cursed because she saw this girl kill herself. She now is cursed with seeing this smiling thing in other people from her past. To this girl, she sees her a couple times throughout the movie, sometimes with a sliced throat, sometimes without, but she is seeing different people throughout this movie smiling at her, and it's so eerie. And honestly, one of the best things they do in this movie is how they smile back at you. Now, that's basically the plot I can give you for this movie, so I want to jump into likes and dislikes before I spoil anything. For my likes, like I just said, the terrifying smiles, they work so well because they're right. It's not just like a normal, "Hey, how are you?" smile. It's like this deep, terrifying, not really smiling smile that only a psychopath would have, and it's so good. Like, every time you see it, it's terrifying. And what I like about this movie is I don't feel, in a movie called Smile, I don't feel like they overuse it. I feel like when you see it, it's the perfect time to see it. And I like how they introduce it. Like, going into this movie, because it was called Smile, I was looking for things that were like smiles in the corner of the screen or something like that. Like, there's a lot of upside down shots that the director goes for, which are cool shots, but I was expecting like to see a smile in the cloud or a smile in the sidewalk. No, there was nothing like that. And I like that they didn't overuse the smile, but when you did see the smile, you knew it was about to go down. Another like for this movie are the scares. I like the jump scares. I'm a person that enjoys jump scares in a movie. Now, once you see the movie once or twice, those jump scares really aren't fun anymore, like Lights Out. It is basically jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. But by the time you've seen the movie twice, it's just not a fun movie anymore. I can't enjoy the movie Lights Out anymore. I enjoyed it for what it was. I recommend it to people who haven't seen it, but then going forward, I'm like, there's no rewatchability. What I liked about Smile was that it did have some jump scares, but they found a unique way to do most of them. What I mean by that is at one point, the doctor is on her laptop and she's trying to listen to this piece of audio. And instead of where you think the scare is going to come from, it comes from somewhere else. And I appreciated that, again, because they're subverting your expectation of where the jump scare is going to come from. But the jump scares aren't the only thing I like. I don't just enjoy horror movies for jump scares. I like the subtle scares as well. Like, the Scream did that earlier this year, where they would follow someone around the house very close, so close to the camera that you couldn't really see around them, and then they'd shut a cabinet and no one would be there. So you are getting more and more scared as the scene plays out, because as she turns a corner and there's nothing there, and she turns a corner and there's nothing there, and she closes the cabinet and there's nothing there, you're like, okay, just scare me already. And then boom, there's the scare, or it's over in the corner and it's just smiling at her. And it was such a good scare. I thought the way they scared the audience in this movie, for the most part, was unique, and it was done very well. The next thing I like about this movie is the acting. See, with horror movies, I feel like, especially low-budget horror movies, you don't always have the best actors and actresses, but I believed everybody in this movie. I think they did a good job acting, and I was really happy to see A-Train from The Boys. I don't remember the actor's name, so A-Train. I'm glad to see him getting work. I think something that's a bridge between the like and the dislike, it's going to kind of bridge those two right here, is the storyline. I did enjoy the overall story of this movie. I enjoyed how they pieced it together. Sometimes with the doctor, her backstory kind of felt like it was bogging the movie down a little bit. Like, they kind of went into it a little too much. There was so much going on in this girl's life. But as I talk about this with my wife, maybe that's why she got stuck with the curse because of her past trauma. Like this thing, this curse, it looks for people with trauma. So yeah, we got a lot of backstory for this girl, and yeah, sometimes it feels like it kind of holds the movie back a little because you have to keep exploring it, all these different avenues. But maybe because of all those avenues, she got the curse. So maybe one has to go with the other. So it can't just be a person with no backstory because, well, they wouldn't have any trauma, so that this curse really couldn't latch itself onto them. So I say it's a like because if that's what they're going for, then it's good. But it's also a dislike because, again, just sometimes a little bit less would be more, and I didn't need to know every aspect of her life, her childhood, her sister. Like, there was just a little too much there. My only other dislike for this movie is probably the end, and that's an easy thing for a horror movie to knock it for, because a lot of horror movies scare you throughout the movie, and then people aren't satisfied with how they ended because they don't like it wasn't a peaceful ending or it was too peaceful of an ending. People just get upset, and it's hard to pull a horror movie together, but it can happen. I'm referencing It Follows right now because It Follows, this movie reminded me a lot of that. And at the end of the movie, they beat the curse. And as they're walking away hand in hand, in the background, in the distance, you see something following them. And it could just be a random person walking on the sidewalk, or it could be the curse. And I like what they did there. It wasn't a very definitive ending, but it left it up for the viewer's interpretation. In this movie, they tell you, look, there's 3 possible outcomes for this girl, for the psychiatrist. What are they going to be? Well, we're going to show you all of them. And they do. They show you all 3 possible outcomes. And I'm not trying to spoil anything here, so I'll be real careful with what I say. But the one that they finish the movie with, I was disappointed. And that's just me. Maybe other people saw it and they're like, oh no, it was brilliant and I'd love to see another. And that's the thing. I would probably watch another movie because the concept of the smile was eerie enough, was terrifying enough at times where I would watch a second movie. But just the way they ended this, I'm like, all right. I mean, they didn't go viral, so that's good. Anytime I can walk out of a horror movie these days and be like, well, at least it didn't go viral, I'm happy, because there was a weird trend for a couple of years there where everything went viral at the end, and so I was really worried they were going to do something like that, but it doesn't do that, and so I appreciate that from this movie. But yeah, if I have a dislike for this movie, it's definitely just the way they wrapped it up. I feel like it could have been done better, but I've never written a horror movie, so what do I know? All that said, guys, those are my thoughts on Smile. If you enjoyed this review, hit the like button for me. If you want to share this review with your friends, make sure that by hitting the share button. If you've seen Smile and you've got thoughts and you've got comments, well, put those comments in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts. Have you seen the movie It Follows? And have you seen Smile? And do they both remind you of each other? Because that's really what I was thinking this entire time. So, wow, these are really close to each other. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll see y'all next time. Right, guys, after credit scene. So next weekend, going straight to Hulu, we get Hellraiser, a reboot. You don't have to watch any of the previous Hellraisers to enjoy this movie. I hope that it's good. I really do. I have high hopes for it. And then the weekend after that, we get Halloween Ends. I hope that's good too.